Hello, YouTube. I hope you're doing well today. Well, I was live streaming. And I was live streaming showing how to de-anvil these primers. And, well, right in the middle of the stream, just kind of went out. And so I went back and looked. And I got a message, I got a notification stating that, well, that it violated their standards, the YouTube policy or whatever. So I really don't know what that's about, but who am I to argue? So I'm just going to pour these anvils in here for right now because they're apart. It doesn't matter. I can separate them a little bit later on. I'm just going to put them in there so I don't lose them. And so I'm going to take out my tube here. And I'm going to dump these out of my press because I just got done. I just got done depriming all this brass. All the other brass in the tumbler has already been tumbled, and it's already been deprimed. So I've got a few primers here, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the preparation of primers. And so with the shortage going on, there's some things that you can do. Hopefully YouTube don't strike this video. This is it's unbelievable the level of censorship that YouTube has done. I mean, we're going to have to find another platform if something don't change. And we really don't want to have to do that. But if the platform, the ones that runs the platform, if they're a bunch of snowflakes, and I'll go ahead and say it, I ain't got no problem with it. There's other various outlets to use. It's not like YouTube, Facebook, and all these others, they're the only streaming servers. So that's something that, Google and all these other Facebook, they're going to have to understand. You're not going to silence what you're trying to silence. You may deter it. You may slow it down a little bit, but you will not silence. The information is going to get out, and we will not be deterred because we have a message and we're going to speak it, whether you like it or not. So with that out of the way, I just had to say that. I mean, it's almost sickening at the level of censorship here in America. It's almost sickening. So these are some spent primers. As you can see where it has the fire and pin strike on it. So what we're going to do is de-anvil this primer. The way I'm doing it right now is I'm just using these fine tweezers. They are just real fine, if you can see the points. And I'm going to put it down into the holes of the anvil. And I'm just going to set this primer in my pliers like this. And I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to simply hold it tight enough. Well, this primer's a little bit harder. Most time you just put it in that hole, and then you pull upward. Pull that primer right there is a little harder. Okay, so let's try it from this way. Most time you pull straight up, and it comes right out. So this primer is being a little hard to deal with, but we will get it. So just got to find whatever works for you. Most times this works smooth as butter. But, hey, that's the way it goes sometimes on cameras when it's going to act up. Okay, we're going to set this primer aside for a second. I think I see what's causing that. We're going to set that aside. We're going to grab another one that's spent. So we're going to put this one in here. Maybe this will work a little bit better. Yeah, see, that would come out like no problem, but then I dropped it. So we'll go ahead and clean this out a little bit because it's got some nasty junk in there. Nasty junk. So I'm not using safety glasses at this time, and I've dropped the, it all goes to pieces. Tarp just fell out from under my reloading bench here. I found the anvil. Let's see. I seen it. There it is. So, working with tedious parts. So right after I drop it again, that right here is the anvil inside the primer. So we're just going to drop that in there before I lose it again. And so now we have the spent primer that has the dimple. And of course it has the dimple on the inside where the firing... Boys, I tell you, I ain't done this all day, okay? Even in the live, I didn't drop it like that. But you see the dimple. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an 1/8 inch punch, which is a little smaller. This is an 1/8 inch Craftsman punch. And then we're just going to take a ball peen hammer. We're going to put that right over the dent. And now you can still see the evidence of where the firing pin hit the primer, of course, but the dimple is removed on the inside. And so this is just really the preparation. Let's try this anvil, getting this anvil out of this primer one more time. I don't know why this anvil in particular was being very, very stubborn, but let's see if we can't. We may ruin it. If we do, that's fine. Now we got it out. It just, for some reason, was wanting to be really hard. And let's go ahead. It had a lot of gunk, if you can see. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a lot of gunk in there. So we're going to take these needle nose. We're going to clean that out because we want that out of the way so we can put that punch in there. Then I'm just going to transfer it up on top. I'm going to take my punch and get it right over top of that. Well, if I miss it. And yeah, we got the dimple back out. And so that does it for that. And so that's just why we do it here. And it's it is from iFixit. I don't know if you can see or not, but you can go to ifixit.com and you can find all kind of tools. This is a set of pliers out of the iFixit kit that you can order. They're made for more or less computer electronic repair. See how easy that come out of there when you stick it in there and just rake it up. It just come out of there really simple, really easy. So clean up some of this junk coming out of these primers off. And so we're just going to scrape the inside. We're just going to use there we go. Just going to use, now if that ain't enough, you could actually take this spade. This is also an iFixit. You take this spade in here and you just get all that junk out of there with that. And then you just transfer it up on top and take that dimple out. So basically what we're doing is we're just conditioning the primers to be reloaded or reprimed with the priming compound. And just because they've been fired once or got that little dimple, it won't hurt a thing. It won't hurt a thing. And as you can see, we got the cup cleaned. Got the dimple out, and so I'm just putting them in here right now. I'm not even separating the large pistol. I'm just sitting in here doing some of these, so because I want to save them up. And it really don't matter what anvil goes back to what primer, just to be honest, as long as it's a large anvil for a large primer and a small anvil for a small primer. Really, that's the only thing that really matters. And I'll show you it up close here. Let me get this. You can see on the tweezers that it's just going through them two holes. And I just take it and I hold it snugly, firmly, and I put it in the primer, pliers like this. And then if I get a good bite on it, which I didn't quite get a good enough bite on it, this primer is going to be a little hard to deal with too, but it come on out of there. It's a little bit harder. And a lot of times it's because there's gunk that's in there. So I'm going to get all this gunk out of here. And this is a little stubborn, so I'm going to take my pick and I'm going to get that out of there. And you know, just it's slow work. I have probably 500 to 800 of the cups. We're going to call them cups. We know what we're talking about because unfortunately YouTube must not like the wordage that's associated. So basically we're going to go through. We got several more in this little lid to do. And so that's what we're doing for primer preparation. And then we got this brass that we're just going to take and we're going to clean up these primer pockets with the hand tool. That's all. It's just a Lee primer pocket hand tool. It's not a uniform or anything like that. It's just to kind of deburr it and kind of, you know, get the old crud out. And you don't have to do it much. You just you're not taking and cutting the brass. You're not swaging it. These are pre-swaged. This is LC military brass. But I'll show you the primer pocket. And you can see that it has been pre-swaged. The military crib has been removed. These have been tumbled. You see on the case that the case is a little discolored. The reason why that is because the case has been annealed. The end has been annealed, and this has been sized. Got a few little dings from being ejected, but it's got one ding right there. It ain't going to hurt nothing. We can put it in the go, no-go gauge. Well, that one right there, okay, so that's why I have it. That one's going to have to be full length resized. It's got a little bit of a belt on it. So we're going to have to full length size that one. So I go through and I check them all. See how that one's seated. So I'm going to go through and probably full length resize these because, but see that one right there? That has been fired forward to my chamber. So that one fits, this one right here fits awesome. See that? It fits awesome. This is also good to use for this right here to grab under that case and pull that out. So I got to go through here. I just have neck sized them. I hadn't done anything else. If you can see, that's way out of spec. And so that one right there is good. So I'll probably put this one, and I'll just go through all these. And I'll check them. If I need to full length size them, I will. If I need to trim them, I will. But right now, that's basically what we're doing. We're just conditioning the primers, and we're checking the 223. I really like this tool. You can go to ifixit.com. They're not sponsored. That's a little tight. That's about a 0.5 thousandths to 1 thousandths tighter than I like. But it will chamber, and it does set flush. So that one's okay. But I would prefer, I might have to go from this way. I would prefer to go ahead and run that through the sizer a little bit. Because it's a little bit tighter. As you can see, I'm having a little trouble getting it out of the case gauge. So I might have to put this blade end on here. Well, it ain't gonna fit. So it's a little tighter. That would have not properly chambered well in my firearm. So I would rather have this to happen here than in the gun. So this is definitely going to have to be resized as well. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong on camera. So you can see a couple little knocks on it. I got it right out of there, but it's around a 0.5 thousandths. Around a 0.5 thousandths, a little too snug. Same way with that one. So I'm gonna, I use them. I use this little gauge from the shooter's box. And it tells, the head space and it's the overall length. So it just, it tells me where I'm at with my round before I chamber it in my firearm. As you can see, most of these is going to have to be resized. And so I just have deprimed them. I did neck size them, but I didn't full length resize them. So I just neck size them to deprime them. That one's great. As we can see, so we just gonna go through here and check these out for a second. That's a little tighter than I like. It's not too bad, but we're gonna go ahead and run that through one more time. Same with that one. That one's almost right, but it's about probably a 1/2 thousandths for the tolerance. About a 1/2 thousandths for the tolerance right there. But I'm going to go ahead. So these are only 2 out of all these cases. So there's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 15 cases or shells right there. And only the 2 is good enough to fall in the cage and fall back out. Well, I said that. And it can be pulled right back out. I mean, like, easy. So these are the only 2 that is neck sized and sized properly. These are the only 2 that's ready to be actually reloaded. So I've got some work to do. Now I will put these on a set of calibers, and I will see about the overall length for the case. And if they need to be trimmed, of course, I will put my trimmer on top and trim them, and then I'll just come back and give a little bit of a, I'll go through and deburr a little bit like that. And so anyhow, so the next step is I haven't got my compound in, but the next step is once I get all these deprimed and my compound, I'm gonna make a video, and I'm gonna, before I make the video, I'm gonna try to do the reloading and everything, and a couple off camera, and then we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping it's going well. I'm hoping it'll go well, because I hope it goes smooth, because we need another viable option in case the primer shortage goes on. We really need to have another option as to what we can do. So y'all stay tuned for that. And I think I go this way. I can't remember how I hunted. So y'all stay tuned for all that, and you know, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, like and share, and tune in for next time, the next video. So we appreciate it. Hope you have a blessed day. Remember, it's not what you're shooting, it's not where you're aiming, but it's about where you're going, because it's your eternity. Stay safe, stay sharp, and stay accurate.